Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy, the Foodie Filmmaker, back at you with another video, with another episode. Just kidding, just kidding. That's how I start my videos on Instagram sometimes. All right, guys, how is it going? It's your boy, Louis, back at you with another episode of the Foodie Filmmaker Podcast. All right, so by this point, it looks like our studio, the studio that we're using, the podcast studio, is finally done. It's finished. It has all of its final touches, and it looks absolutely amazing. I mean, you guys can only see this side, this perspective. But once we start bringing in guests, and maybe I just kind of swap around, here and there, just to keep it a little bit more fun and stuff, because I know for the most part, most podcasts like to use the same background just to keep it consistent and stuff. But we're not like the other podcasts, so this one's a little bit different, and so I want to keep it different, fresh, and so I might be changing up the background here and there, I might move on that side or on that side. There's some really cool backgrounds there. I don't want to reveal anything until you guys see those, so I'm very excited to finally be back here once again. We're back for the second time. We've actually been running around today. I just came from a photo shoot / video shoot here in Pasadena. I actually got myself some water today because I remember from last time I was in here and I was like, God damn, man, my mouth be going dry. And so I figured I didn't have any water in the studio. So this time I'm like, I got to get myself some water so that I'm able to talk at least a little bit longer, Yeah, so we've been kind of running around. I just finished that photo shoot / video shoot here at Amara Cafe, the restaurant. If you guys have a chance to check it out, definitely check out Amara. They have some amazing Venezuelan food. Yeah, so I just got done with that, and then I just ran up here to the studio. I'm actually late. It's actually 2:10. I'm supposed to be here at 2. But yeah, so really excited for today's episode, because today's episode is actually going to be a book review by a restaurant owner. So the restaurant that I'm talking about is Jose Chiquito. They are located inside the Grand Central Market in downtown. So I am from downtown, and so this place is amazing. Like, I've always known about it. I actually collaborated with this place a long time ago. I don't know if the owner knows, but I was there around the COVID time, so around 2020. It was a friend who introduced me to that place, and I tried it, and I was like, this place is high quality. Plus, I saw the amount of people that were there, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of people. This place is actually really busy, and it's a small place too. It's like a little small stall. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stalls inside the Grand Central Market, but this one's really small, and it had a huge amount of people, and it was just packed, and I could see everybody in there was enjoying their food. So I was like, damn, this place is legit. This place is good. And so it's mostly American food, but it has that homemade flavor, and also that Latin American type of vibe. And so it's pretty good. I like it. I've tried a couple of things there. The first thing that I tried there were the chilaquiles, which were amazing. And just recently I went and I tried one of their burgers. I tried their bacon cheeseburger, and I also tried their, I think it was their chicken club sandwich. It came with bacon, chicken, and all that good stuff. And then the last time I went there, which is how I actually got a hold of this book, which I will be talking about in this episode today. I actually tried their breakfast burrito, which I had not tried just yet. And let me tell you, that breakfast burrito was life-changing. I gotta say, it's my new favorite breakfast burrito of all time. It is just so good. I mean, I loaded mine with sausage and bacon and stuff like that. Normally you would just pick one, but I love sausage and bacon, so I couldn't decide and just go with one of them, so I had to go with both. So, and then when I was there, the owner, his name is Marlon Medina. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, actually. But so the owner was there. He hooked me up. Again, very thankful, because I was actually just gonna go as a customer. I was actually there to film something else in the Grand Central Market, but I decided I had to get some breakfast in first before I went there. So then that's kind of how it came to be. But yeah, so I got that, and then yeah, the owner was there, and so he was like, "Yo, like here, take some books here with you," and I was like, "Sure," like actually, for those of you who don't know, I am quite of a reader. I haven't read a book in a while, but there was a time when I was reading books pretty consistently, and so I love books. I think I mean, for everybody out there who enjoys books and reads books, the amount of value that a book can actually pack in there. It's, of course, it's not a very common thing nowadays for you to read books, and not a lot of people read books, but the thing is that there's so much value packed in books, and like if you just take the time, to be able to just focus and dial in and just kind of forget about everything and just sit down, somewhere relaxing and just go through a book, read through the pages and try to immerse yourself in whatever the content is. It's an amazing experience, and so that's kind of what happened here. I was actually really excited because I've actually never received a book from a restaurant owner, and I actually think that every single restaurant owner, whether you're watching this or not, but I believe that every restaurant owner should write a book about their story and how they came to be, especially if the place is successful, because there's usually like a really long story, and like there's so many valuable lessons that one can learn. Even if you're not planning to be a restaurant owner in the future, there's still like a lot of principles that you can learn from somebody who went from not really having anything to being able to build an entire business around a restaurant, because getting a restaurant to go, it's actually pretty hard. It's harder than you think, because there's just so many restaurants out there. So being able to run a successful restaurant nowadays is not the easiest thing. And so for someone to be able to do that, just like Jose Chiquito here that we're talking about, it's incredible. And so that's the reason why I was very excited, because I was like, that's so cool that somebody took the time to write a book about how they went about their journey. And just seeing the place, being a fan of the place myself, I was very excited because I know this book was going to be packed. And so, yes, so the book that we're going to be talking about today, and by the way, this book is in Spanish, and he also gave me another book, which I have yet to read. The other book he did give me he did give it to me in both languages. So I'm not sure if there's an English version of this book as well, but he only gave me the Spanish version. So obviously I could read Spanish and English, both languages. I can do pretty much everything with them. So I can speak both, I can write in both languages, and I can read in both languages as well. And I can comprehend text and everything. I can comprehend a pretty good comprehension of both languages. So yeah. So the title of this book is called Más que un sueño, which is it basically translates to more than just a dream. So this book, besides just kind of him sharing his whole journey as far as like going from just working outside of the Central Market, selling I forgot what he was selling. He was selling something. I believe he was selling like some sort of product outside of the Central Market, but just from going that to actually working in the restaurant, and then going from that to like manager, and then going from that into the actual owner of the restaurant. Like it's pretty incredible. I thought it was a good read. And so in this episode, I kind of want to just share what I learned from the book. And there was a lot, so I'm basically gonna go over I'm actually gonna, go through like the table of contents here, where I could find like the names of all the chapters, because that's kind of where I'm gonna find all so I can remember pretty much what this book was completely about it, because I believe like every chapter really had something valuable. And plus, me having worked in the food industry, like not like right now, like doing social media and taking pictures and content and stuff like that, but for me, like someone who worked in the food industry, like behind the counter, as a cashier, I worked as a barista, I worked as I wouldn't say chef, but I did make like sandwiches, like deli style sandwiches, and I worked in a gelato shop, so I made gelato as well. I went from that, and so I experienced that for quite a while. Worked in the back for a few years, and so I got to work with a lot of people, and I got to work with obviously I got to see the owners do a lot of stuff, and I would say that my first job actually that was like the most successful one, because the other ones, they were okay, and like some of them are still around. The one about the gelato spot, that one is completely gone actually, and it was actually here in Pasadena as well, but that one's completely gone. It doesn't exist anymore, and so yeah, but yeah. So somebody who worked in the back, worked in the restaurant. There's a lot of things that he talks about in this book where, I pretty much did all the stuff that you're not supposed to do. So like, there's a lot of lessons in here which just working in the food industry. I did a lot of these, but obviously I was able to kind of learn from them, and I fixed them. I didn't quite fix them there. I fixed them like later on because I didn't really have a chance to, just because I didn't have the awareness. I didn't have access to information like this at the time, so I wasn't able to change most of my habits when it came to me working like behind the scenes, be behind the counter, be working in the kitchen in the restaurant and stuff like that. So yeah, so I wish I would have. I think I would have been it would have been a much better experience for my coworkers, really, because I was truly kind of a nightmare, I would say. I wasn't the best worker to have around, the best employee, because I definitely didn't really follow instructions that well. And I just wasn't a very good helper either. I wasn't a very good teammate. So when it came to doing things as a teamwork and all that stuff, I was pretty bad. So I kind of let my team down many, many, many times, and for that I am so sorry. It's just everybody who I worked with at the time in those times, because I just wasn't the best. But yeah, so other than that, let me go ahead and get into the book real quick here, because there's a lot to unpack here. So yeah. So if you guys actually, by the way, if you guys speak Spanish, definitely urge you guys to pick up a copy of this book. Obviously, you can get this book. I'm not sure. I did see mention that there is a way to leave reviews on Amazon. So these books might be available on Amazon. I haven't checked, but if they're not available there, you can always stop by the actual restaurant at Jose Chiquito, downtown LA, inside the Grand Central Market, and pick yourself one of these books if you do speak Spanish. If there is an English version, I'm not sure if there is, but if there is, then you can pick up the English version and read that as well. But for those who maybe don't have access, can't come to downtown or something, or you guys just don't read Spanish and maybe that's the only version there is, I'm going to go ahead and share what I learned from this book so that you guys can go ahead and apply some of these. And yes, maybe some of you guys are not planning to be restaurant owners, but you guys can apply this to your content creation journey as well and take it to the next level, because like I said, there are principles here in this book that apply to just not only restaurant owners, but any sort of journey where you plan to attain success, and not just short-term success, but long-term success, where you can actually leave a legacy. You can make a name for yourself. You can make an impact. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. So at first, obviously, we start with the introduction. So he kind of introduces himself, kind of lets you guys know a little bit about, his story, about how he started and all that stuff. That's where I told you that he started as selling something outside of the Central Market. And then we go to the next chapter, which is Nuestras Raíces, which is basically like our roots. So there he kind of talks about like, how we all come from different areas. We all come from different places. And so the valuable lesson to take there is that all of you should acknowledge and really understand and come into terms with where you were born from and where you came from. And so take that as an advantage. Take that as don't look at it as like a deficiency, or don't look at it as a weakness or something like that, because we all come from different areas, different places. We're all born under different circumstances, so we all grew up with different habits and stuff like that. And so some of these will be helpful in your journey towards being successful, and some of these won't. But you need to take what's best and continue doing that, and then take what's not helping you and modify those things. And so that's basically what that chapter kind of talks about. Then we move on to the next one, which is claridad, which is clarity. And this was a very very important one, because gaining clarity is superbly important. And he kind of talks about how, gaining clarity inside, working in the restaurant, it applies there because, you always want to be clear as far as like, how everything is operating within the restaurant. And because in order to avoid mistakes, especially in times when it's actually busy. So, restaurants, if it's slow, you can kind of get away with like, a bad employee or something, because if it's slow, anybody can just jump in and kind of cover for that one employee who's not really doing their job right. And so you cover for them and it's all right or whatever, you're like, everybody knows that's the employee that doesn't really work. So you kind of just accept it, and you just learn to kind of step up when that other employee is not performing. But when it gets busy, when it's like really packed, as far as a restaurant goes, you have a big line, you have a lot of customers waiting, a lot of orders coming in, and there's a lot of food to be made. There isn't really any room for that. At that point, every single employee needs to be effective, and so one of the ways for that to happen is for everybody to have clarity, and then that clarity can come in different ways. So every employee should have clarity as far as like what their role is, so they should know exactly what they should be doing, and they should be clear as far as like what they're supposed to do, and they need clarity as far as like how to do it as well. So they need to they need to know these things. They need to know whatever the system is. There needs to be clarity around that. There needs to be clarity as far as like why they're doing it. Why they're even there, why they're working there. There needs to be clarity in all aspects of life. And so you as a content creator may be watching this, and so you need to gain clarity as far as like why you're doing your content creation in the first place. And so I kind of spoke about that in the previous episode as to finding your reason as to why you're a content creator in the first place. But that's how clarity can apply there. You need to have clarity as far as like the way you create your content, have clarity as far as like what your system is for going about creating that content. So how do you go about it? Do you need to envision something? Do you need to write it down? Do you need to watch some inspiration and kind of go through your entire list of inspirational posts or something? Whatever the system may be, you need to have clarity as far as like that goes. And so having clarity always makes things a lot easier. It makes everything run a little bit smoother because you have clarity. You have like the specifics down, so you know exactly what you're doing. You're not just running around, or you're not confused, or you're not like just lost in the process. You're not just wondering around, wasting time, right? You know exactly what you're doing. You know where you're going. So there's that clarity. So clarity is superbly important. Then we have the next chapter, which is ganar. So which is basically win-win. For this one, it's all about winning. So you actually want to win. Like you never want to position yourself in a place where you're not going to win, or that you don't have a chance to win, or that you're just not really there. Like you should always be aiming to win something. Even if you don't attain it, the first time or the second time around, you always want to have that attitude of just wanting to win. So whatever it is, whatever it may be, like obviously we all have our different goals, and we are in like different stages within our journey. So every single win goal is going to be different for all of us, but you always want to focus on winning. You always want to have that attitude of like, okay, I want to win. I want to get the result. I want to get the whatever the achievement, the trophy, the award, or, whatever it is that may be, you want to always go for the win. In reality, even though the win might seem like it's just impossible, you always want to have the attitude, because at the end of the day, the attitude is what matters the most. And your attitude will dictate how you operate. It will dictate how you go about things, how your approach is. It'll affect your confidence. It'll affect the way you kind of immerse yourself into whatever thing that it is that you're doing. And so if you're not in that mindset of like, I'm gonna win, then you're basically not going to win. And so you need wins in order to be able to continue moving forward, because if all you're doing is just accruing loss after loss after loss, then eventually you will get discouraged, because there is no win. Because there is a certain feeling that you get when you win. You always want to be going after that. And so once you put that mindset that, that, okay, I'm going to win, you're basically positioning yourself in a place where you're going to win, but also, you want to follow that up with action. So what is it going to take for me to win? So in order for me to win, I need to prepare myself in the best way possible so I can ensure that not only am I positively thinking that I'm going to win, but I'm also putting in the work and the action, and I'm putting in the time, the effort, whatever it is that I need to put in order for me to get the win. So that's basically what that chapter is about. Then we go to the next chapter, which is about Eso no me toca a mí, which is this one. I remember reading this one and I was like, oh, dude, like this was really me, because so basically what that translates to is that that's not something for me to do. So this happens a lot in a lot of workplaces where you're basically attached to whatever your role, your job role is. And so you basically tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to do anything outside of this. So whatever my job role is, that's all I'm going to do. And I'm not going to do anything else because, I'm not getting paid for that, I'm getting paid hourly and these are my duties. And I spoke with the boss in the interview, right? And I signed the contract and I made sure this is the only things that I'm going to be doing, right? I'm not going to do nothing more, nothing less, because this is what I'm getting paid for, right? And so when you go in with that attitude, sure, you're doing this from the place of oh, I don't want to get taken advantage of, or I don't want to be used up, as a slave or something, right? Because that's not my job, that's not my duty. Why am I going to do that, right? And so there's a special space there for learning and for growth when you break out of that and you tell yourself, okay, sure, maybe I'm not getting paid for that. Maybe I'm not going to get compensated. Maybe nobody's going to even notice that I took over a certain role, that's not supposed to be for me to do. But here's the thing, you got to change your approach from I'm doing this just to get paid, and change your mindset to I'm going to do this because I want to learn. So when you have opportunities like this where you're at your job and then there's something that needs to be done, but it's not necessarily assigned to you, nobody told you that you have to do it, and it's not part of your job description as well, there's an opportunity for you to go there, take responsibility, take initiative, and go and do it yourself. And the reason why you're doing it is for you to learn, explore a new area of responsibility, where as before you didn't have that, now you have it. And so yes, at first, who knows, maybe you do mess things up, because after all, it wasn't your responsibility to do it, right? And so maybe you're not skilled enough, you don't have the necessary knowledge to get that task done, but nobody's doing it, so somebody's got to do it, right? And so what counts here is really the approach, is really the mindset, is really the initiative that you have towards doing that thing. Once you do it for the first time, obviously you may not do it the best way, but if you continue to take initiative and continue doing it, eventually you will become good. And now you've actually attained a new skill without anyone actually pressuring you into getting it, without nobody really, without you even asking for it. You just kind of took initiative, and now all of a sudden you're skilled in a whole new department. And who knows, maybe you do get skilled enough to the point where you do know how to do it, and now you can either your boss notices and they're like, oh, okay, you know what, I see that you're pretty good at that, why don't I actually give you the official job description now? Why don't I give you the official title, that makes you responsible for that now, and that comes with a raise, and that could come really afterwards. Or you can end up just leaving that job, you can go to a new one, and now you can add that skill into your resume, you can add it as part of your skill set. So now you can go and say that you know how to do that, because you actually do know how to do that. So you just learned a new skill and you can use it for the next job, and then they can pay you a whole lot more in that other one. And so this is really the key here, is that you don't really do things just to get paid. You don't really do things just to get compensated in money, but you do things in order for you to be compensated in knowledge and experience. And a lot of people kind of undermine that, because they feel I should be getting paid, to learn. I should be getting paid to gain experience and stuff like that. And the thing is that that's not always going to happen. And you should really drop that entitled mindset of always wanting to be paid in order to learn something. Like sometimes you will have to just, suck it up. Sometimes you will have to just go and do things that are not exactly your responsibility and just kind of go and do them just for the sake of learning a whole new skill set, or maybe because there's nobody really doing it, or maybe you need that task done in order for you to continue operating properly. Because sometimes, a whole, you're working in a job, there's a system that's in place, and so everybody kind of needs to do their role. Everybody needs to fulfill their job in order for you to be able to fulfill yours. And who knows, maybe in the whole system, you're just like one part of that system, and so you need the part that comes before you to get done, and maybe that's the part where it's not getting done, and so you take over that way you're able to do your job afterwards. And so there's that. And so that's why I think it's very important that even if it's not your job, go ahead and do it. I'm sure it'll pay off in some way, shape, or form at some point in your life. So yeah. The next one is actitud, which is basically attitude. So when it comes to attitude, obviously having a positive attitude is obviously going to be helpful, and obviously it's going to be something that it could take you a long way, because having a positive attitude really dictates how you flow and dictates really the vibe of every single space and place that you go to, so even if you're working a normal job, you always want to have that positive attitude so that everybody around you is comfortable. There's a good vibe in the room and everybody feels comfortable, being themselves, and everything can flow properly. If there's some communication that needs to be done, it's always easier to communicate with somebody who has a positive attitude rather than someone who's always negative and like they have like this bad vibe. Like usually those people, you don't even want to talk to them, you don't want to get close to them, and so a lot of things get missed just because you don't want to talk to them. So then you don't communicate with them, and so a lot of things just end up not happening just because that communication wasn't there in the first place. So take that as a lesson, but also like attitude, as far as like having a positive attitude when you're working, it just makes you be a whole lot more effective, because you're more immersed in what you're doing. You see the vision. You understand that your attitude is not just for yourself, but you understand that your attitude is also important for the rest of the people that are there as well, so that they are able to perform effectively. And so once everybody's in a positive attitude, there's a positive vibe going around and everybody can operate positively. And that's definitely a huge plus, whether that's in a company, whether that's in a team, or wherever it is that this is taking place. Having a positive vibe, having a positive attitude can always take you a long way. And so make sure you always have that. And then the next one is por qué, which is basically why. So having a why in place is always important. And I kind of mentioned that, like I said, in the previous episode where I talked about, like, having your reason as to why you're doing what you're doing. But always having a strong why is very important as to like why you're there, why you're in that workplace, why you're a content creator, why you're making videos, why you're taking pictures. Having that established and being real with yourself really can take you a long way, because that kind of dictates how far you're going to go and how much you're willing to take along the way. Because here's the thing, like if you're doing something for the sole interest of money, then that's okay. But make sure that you know exactly how much money you want to make out of whatever it is that you're doing. So if you have like a job where like all you're really like interested in is making money, then make sure you know exactly the amount, or maybe there's a certain amount of things you want to buy. From the moment that you start working there, you want to buy yourself certain things. So you want to use this job as a way to make a certain amount of money, to buy yourself a certain amount of things, and then you want to exit. So make sure you know exactly what that is. Again, having clarity. So having clarity as far as like what you want to get exactly out of it. But if it's money, that's fine. Just make sure you know exactly what it is. But if it's not money, then make sure you're honest with that as well. Because if it's not for money, then because there will be situations where like I said, you just won't be compensated for everything. So when it comes to those times, you got to be real with yourself. Like, are you doing this for money, or are you doing this because you want to grow, because you want to learn, you want to become a better person, you want to become more skilled in your industry, you want to become a master, you want to, you want to become a teacher, you want to become this, that, whatever, whatever your reason is. So you got to know what that is. And so once you face these type of situations, these are it really, at the end of the day, having the vision, having your why will really help you out make better decisions along the way that are actually beneficial. They're getting you closer to your goals. So that's really what you want at the end of the day. So whatever it is, always know your why and make sure it's personal. Make sure it's something that, that why is just, it's important to you. It doesn't need to be important to everybody else. It just needs to be important to you. So yeah. Obviously, also the next one is visión, which is vision. Basically, kind of what we kind of talked about right here. Really having the vision, having a strong vision. I understand that not many of us are visionaries. Maybe you don't have like a clear vision, but like I said, this goes back to clarity as well. You want to have that clear vision. So you want to, maybe you don't have it right now. So just have some sort of vision, it doesn't have to be like really big, or it doesn't have to be like super descriptive, but especially if you're not like a visionary, just kind of have something, have something that can guide you, have something that's important, have something that really makes sense to you, whatever the vision is. Like, have something established, have a if you want to, if it's an actual vision, like an actual visual representation of something, then make sure you have that. You can create like a collage or something like that, where like, you have like a vision board or something with like, okay, I want to have all these things, by the end of this whole journey, or I want to accomplish certain things. I want to feel a certain way, this, that, whatever it may be, have a strong vision, have a strong reason and vision as to why you're doing the things that you're doing. And then the next one is misión, which is the missions. So mission. So when you think about mission, it's more like a battle, right? Like something like you're a fighter. And so that's kind of how I like to see it. Obviously, not everybody kind of shares that same like action oriented kind of definition. But for me, a mission is really going into battle. And so that's really what it is for me here. And so maybe it's not for you guys, but for me, this is definitely a mission. It's something that needs to be completed, and the reason why it's a mission is because there's a lot of battles along the way, and the thing is that the reason why I would use the word battle is because these obstacles and adversaries that come along the way, they can really stop you from continuing your journey. Just like a soldier, is out there in battle. The enemy can throw, you can get shot. They can throw a grenade at you. These are all obstacles, right? They're throwing bullets, they're shooting bullets at you, they're throwing grenades at you, they're throwing bombs, whatever, right? So these are all obstacles, and some are bigger than others. And so the thing is that you have to not only learn how to dodge some of these, but sometimes you will get wounded. Sometimes you will get hurt by these. You might not get taken out completely, but you will get wounded. And so sometimes, these obstacles, they will prevent you from continuing on. You probably get scared, you get worried, you're like, you get stressed because, these things are legitimately dangerous, especially if you're like in the world of business, obstacles can come in like somebody can steal money from you, you can lose money, you invested somewhere and then all of a sudden, that investment goes down. And so you just lose a huge amount of money, or, you lose your best employee, or, who knows, maybe your equipment goes down or stuff like that. And so these are a lot of things that can make it really easy for you to just say, what, I'm not going to continue anymore. Maybe the best thing here is to just stop here and not continue moving forward, because we're just going to accrue more harm along the way, because like maybe you already lost money, maybe you just want to completely stop what you're doing because you're like, okay, I don't want to lose any more money because that's going to be even worse. But the thing is that as someone who's on a mission, someone who needs to accomplish a mission, you just leave yourself no option, because there is a mission to complete. There's a vision, there is clarity, there is something that you're going after. And so even though you're harmed, even though you're wounded, there is no stopping. So you basically have to figure your way out of this. And so that's really where the mission comes into play, because I feel like we're all kind of just battling. We're all soldiers. And so, you really want to keep going. Find a way to keep going. That way you're able to reach the end and complete the mission. And yes, sometimes by the end of the mission, you don't complete it entirely the way you started it. And that's rarely ever the case too, because along the way you will accrue a lot of like I said, there's a lot of harm. There's a lot of things that are going to happen to you along the way. So you won't come out the same person from the moment you start the mission to the moment that you end it. But that's not entirely a bad thing. If anything, I would say it's a good thing, because there will be a lot of growth. You will learn a lot of things, even though you will accrue a lot of pain. And maybe some of that pain is traumatic, even like for soldiers in real life, they go to wars, they fight, and sometimes they do win these battles. They win the war. But when they come back home, they're just not the same. And sometimes they are affected by the things that they experience at war, and so they're just not the same human beings anymore. And sometimes these effects are bad. They accrue trauma, PTSD, and stuff like that, right? And so they're just not the same person, and so they're just like isolated from the world, because they're just like they're just not the same anymore. But same thing can happen here when you're going on your journey. A lot of stuff can happen along the way, and so you have to remember that you have a mission to complete. And that this mission, at the end of the day, the way I like to see it is that this mission, while it is for you and it is important for you, it's also important for the people that it's going to affect as well. So at the end of the day, maybe this mission is for you to, be able to help others. Maybe you want to help your family. You want to get your family out of a bad place or something, or stuff like that. Or you want to improve your friends' lives, or you just want to help a whole bunch of people. You want to become a coach or stuff like that. And so by accomplishing your mission, now a whole lot more people are going to be helped, because you went through the turbulence, you went through the struggle, you went through the entire journey, and now you are qualified, you are certified, you are a person of value, somebody that can change lives. You are somebody that can go ahead and make a difference out there in the world, and you wouldn't have been able to become this person if you hadn't gone through that whole journey to begin with. So that's why it's so important that you that as a soldier, as a person who's on a mission, to never quit. Even if you feel like you get scared, these things, you start feeling these things. These are normal. Obviously, you're going to feel them. It's not like I'm not telling you here to walk through the whole journey fearless and, just see things, happen to your journey, like as a content creator. Maybe you're suffering, maybe you're feeling tired. Maybe you're feeling like you're losing your mind, or you start getting panic attacks, or you start fainting or something because it's just so much work or a lot of stress and stuff. I'm not saying that those things aren't like to be concerned about. Obviously address them, but it doesn't mean that you should let these things stop you at the end of the day. Address them, address the situations, and get back out there, get back out there, because you're a soldier. You have a mission to accomplish. So you're not done here yet. And if you do finish, then just think about, at the end of the day, then this could all have been for nothing. You just left your mission halfway accomplished because you let these things stop you. So at the end of the day, be a soldier, be relentless, and no matter what comes up along the way, address it and keep moving forward. So yeah. And so, and then the next one is amor en primer lugar, which is basically love in the first place. So obviously have love for what you're doing, have love for your craft, have love for your coworkers if you're working with other people, have love for your business partners, for your friends, for your family, for everybody. Treat everybody with love. At the end of the day, even your haters, there's obviously going to be a lot of people who don't like you, but at the end of the day, if you always operate with love, you will always achieve the better result, and you will always move forward in the right direction, because I myself have not always operated under love. And let me tell you, I regret most of the decisions that I made when I was operating from a place of like hate or evil or like negativity, because like at the moment you might feel like it's okay because you're manifesting, your emotions. Like maybe somebody screwed you over or something, right? And so your first instinct is to like take revenge or something, right? Or, your coworkers are not doing their job, and so you start holding grudges against them because they're not doing the work the way you want them to. And so you start operating from a place of negativity and you're just angry all the time. And so when when that's the case, your results are kind of start to suffer, because you start doing things from a place of revenge, from a place of like you want to cause evil in the world. And so that's not really very progressive. It's not something that can move you forward. It's always better if you just operate from a place of love, because that's more like at the end of the day, that's going to get you better places. That's going to get you moving forward. At the same time, remember clarity. Remember your mission is to move forward. Your mission isn't to avenge, yourself, or to let these things kind of like someone screwed you over. It's not all of a sudden like, oh, my mission is now to destroy that person's life because they destroyed mine or something like that, right? No, like if they harm you in a certain way, you just like whatever, you fix yourself, and then you keep moving forward. You keep on with your mission. You don't let these other things affect you or cause you to diverge from your mission and now start going and kind of see them as a target or something like that. Never do that. Always operate from a place of love, from a place of giving, from a place of care, from a place of wanting to obviously create value, not just for yourself, but create value for others as well. The next one is nuestros valores, which is basically our values. So this one can be a whole episode in of itself, where we basically go into like values and the value system, and going over like what can your values really be at the end of the day, right? And so a lot of people like and this takes a little bit of time, obviously, to develop whatever your values are, so this can be like a whole system in of itself. And like I said, we can do a whole episode on this. But yes, like figuring out what your value system is and what you value out of life can really help you determine how you operate in the world. It can obviously lead you to be around certain people, be in a certain job. Obviously, if you're someone who wants to work for somebody, you don't always have to be a business owner, but if you're looking to work for somebody, then you always want to know what your values are, and then look at the company's values and see if both of them align. That way, you're working with a company that has similar values to yours, and that way everybody's kind of working, in synergy, as opposed to like if you have a certain set of beliefs and then the company has other set of beliefs, and it kind of creates like this clash, and this there's just no chemistry there at the end of the day. And so you don't want to be working there, because at the end of the day, it's just not going to work out well. Even if it's for the money, then make sure like I said, what the amount is, but make sure you get the amount of money that you want and you leave, because trust me, if both of your value systems are completely different, it's going to be extremely uncomfortable to be working there to begin with. So you never want that. The next one is cultura, which is like the culture, basically kind of similar to your values, but this is really about like really understanding the culture of whatever place that you're in. So this might apply a little bit more to a job setting where there's a certain culture that the owner establishes, or maybe you're the owner, so then it's your job to kind of establish a culture. And so what that really comes down to is really I feel like it's connected to the values as well. So based on your values, you'll create like a culture that kind of brings it all together. And so basically, like the whole company itself kind of becomes like a person, right? It becomes like somebody you want to look up to. So basically, having a culture is meaning like having a set of values, and that everybody kind of follows those, and that if everybody follows those certain values, everyone's going to be okay. Everybody's going to be on the same page. And like I said, again, that brings a lot of clarity to why you're doing what you're doing, not only for yourself but to everybody there. They always have something to look up to, something to look towards to, and so that's always valuable as well. Going really quick just because I'm almost running out of time here, but yeah. So then there's like the filosofía de vida, which is like your philosophy on life. Haz lo que puedas con lo que tengas, which is basically do whatever you can with whatever you got. So sometimes you don't have access to all the resources that you would want to, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything to begin with, right? So always do whatever you can with what you have. And eventually, once you start to kind of develop your skills, maybe you have access to a little bit more stuff. And so always try to do more with As you get more, try to do more with that. But at the beginning, do whatever you can with what you have. Then we move on to El Hambre por una Mejor Vida, which basically, you really got to develop this hunger for wanting a better life for yourself. Because if you're kind of comfortable with the current life that you have right now, then, it makes it a little bit harder, and it makes it a little bit more complicated for you to want to strive for a better life if, you currently like the one that you're living. So there really has to be a reason as to why you want to change the life that you're currently living. So doesn't mean to really bash and like really hate on the current life that you have, but like really start to look out and try to see like, okay, like what other possibilities is there? What else can I have access to? And like at the end of the day, you may see things that you want, and so you just kind of go from there. Maybe it's not even for yourself, but you want to have a life where maybe you and your friends are good, your family's good, and everybody's good, right? So, that's always going to require a lot of work from your part. So yeah. Then we have, I'm really running out of time here, so I'm just going to go real quick through these. Soñar en grande, se busca dueño de negocio, la cima, caballeros a prueba de fuego, and basically the last word. So basically these are like dream big, and we're talking about the top of the hill, and really gentlemen testing the fire. I think that's what the translation is. I'm not quite sure actually, but yeah, basically that's really the whole book. Really about really striving and being the best person that you can be, and that's basically going to be the end of this. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you to Marlon Medina here for giving me this book. It was amazing. Completely loved the book. It was awesome. And yeah, and you guys have a chance to pick up a copy of the book. Definitely do so. Pick up a copy. You're gonna love it. If you didn't, then I hope you enjoyed this breakdown that I did for you guys. I wish I would have had more time to continue the breakdown, but yeah, it's it was actually a long book, and there was a lot for me to talk about, and I actually thought I was gonna be able to finish it in like really quick, but nah, actually, I might do I might talk a little bit more about it when I review the other book, because like I say, he gave me 2 books, so maybe when I review the second book, which I really want to do a review on, then I might kind of complete a little bit about this, and they're probably connected as well. So maybe what I talk about in that other book description, some of that stuff might also be in here. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining me once again at another episode. This was the Foodie Filmmaker Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Foodie Filmmaker. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. Make sure you follow the Instagram of the podcast, tff.podcast. And yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.